And we are recording. All right. So for our fine art photography project, I would go down and check out the instructions. So we want to have, basically we have 4 options for this project. It is a good one to do over the weekend or the Thanksgiving week. So the 4 options, I'm going to tell you what they are, and then I'll explain it and show examples. So 2 separate still lifes. So what that means is a still life, if you search still life photography and do an image search, right? Still life is where you are arranging objects. And so what the objects are could be totally up to you. They could be food, flowers. It could be like a theme to it, like an arrangement theme. It could be, you know, cool and minimalist styles to it, where you do, you know, kind of cool background or things you put them on. So these are still lifes. A lot of overhead angles I've seen with still lifes. You could do like what's called a flat lay, and then some where you shoot, you know, at lower angles, maybe eye level to the subject. Freezing stuff is cool, but basically you're gathering multiple objects and placing them in a cool arrangement. This one's kind of cool with the apple, where it's like half and half. Could have, again, like a theme. But you'll notice with the still lifes, they're usually on either a clean table or a clean surface or background, you know, and they have a nice arrangement, and they also have a nice placement of the objects. And it's usually, typically, it's pretty soft lighting. So you could use a lamp, or you could use, you know, outdoor lighting. You could also put it next to a window and have kind of a soft window kind of side light look. A lot of like food and stuff is shot next to like a window, or they, you know, set it up next to a window. So still life is where you're arranging things. So what I want for that option, again, you have 4 different options to choose from. You pick which option is best for you. I would say the still life is probably the most picked option out of the 4 options. You can kind of see why once I start explaining them. But what I want is 2 separate still lifes. So you're going to make one arrangement, put on a nice background, nice light, take a photo of it. That's one. Second photo, do a second arrangement, nice light, nice background, take a photo of that. So you're making 2 different ones and taking 2 different photos. Does that make sense? Okay. Second option is a series of landscapes or seascapes. So again, the key thing is it's a series of 8 landscapes or seascapes. Could be, even though it's 8 photos, when I actually talk about it, it's actually not super complicated shooting 8 photos. So again, if you're not sure what a landscape is, it can pretty much be anything outdoors, right? So, you know, you can go to the beach, go to a park, you know, go to a scenic location. Maybe some of you guys are traveling for Thanksgiving and want to shoot some landscapes. This is the white sands in New Mexico. It's very pretty. So anything where you're kind of outside in nature, typically it's wide views. There are things like macro landscapes where you're shooting like flowers and stuff. So you could do a series where you shoot really up close, like these are mushrooms and flowers and mold, and like different other kind of little details. You could do macro landscapes. If you're into going to the ocean, you could do seascapes. And so that's where you photograph bodies of water. A lot of times they'll, you know, put stuff in the foreground, like the cliff edge or the beach edge, and then, you know, shoot the water. Especially now when we get kind of winter weather, we do get some cool clouds and storms coming through. We've had some pretty nice sunset lately. And then there also is cloudscapes. The cloudscapes is the focus is on the clouds. So you're kind of relying on the weather to get good clouds. But if there is good clouds, you could do a series where you literally just shoot clouds and shoot a variety of clouds. You could shoot some with the land, or you could just shoot clouds by themselves. It's totally up to you. But what I would do is think about how could I shoot 8 photos that are similar to each other. So it's a series, right? It could do, cityscapes. Maybe you're traveling to a city or you want to go like downtown San Diego. So instead of being out in nature, you could take photos of cities and buildings and cars and, all the things happening in the city. Like maybe there's a cool vantage point. Like if you go up near Mount Soledad and La Jolla, you have a really cool view of downtown San Diego. Or like from Coronado is a cool view of like the San Diego skyline. Like if I search San Diego skyline, right? These photos are all shot from Coronado. So if you go on Coronado Island, you can shoot across the San Diego Bay back to downtown, get some pretty cool photos. I've had students do stuff like that before. It comes out pretty good. So the key thing with that is it's a series of 8 photos that work together. The third option, it is mixed media. So some of you maybe taking design and mixed media class. That's where you're incorporating different types of art medias, such as drawing, painting, sculpting, photo collage, or different things, and combining it with a photograph. And so if you search mixed media photography, you'll see people that have created artwork where they use art, whether it's digital art or maybe analog. You could take a photo of the analog art, like if you drew or painted something, and then you could overlay it or blend it in a Photoshop or a Photoshop Mix app on your smartphone, and it could play with the layers. This one, they used a watercolor painting. They took a photo of it and then selected it out and then combined it with a photo. So again, how we can combine artwork with photos, that's mixed media. So you're only creating one of these. It could also be if you digitally paint, it could be digital paint on a photo. That's cool. If you can print out a photo, you could print out a photo and do like analog stuff where you stitch it or draw on top of it. If you have that option to print photos, most of you don't, so I'm assuming that won't be a major option. But just think about, you could do digital art on top of the photo, and then you're just combining different layers together, either in Photoshop, and again, I'll show a demo later on. I have a couple of videos that you can look now, but where you can bring in multiple files into Photoshop, and then using blending modes or selections, you can add text on top or graphics on top, and you can combine it with your photo, which is kind of cool. So that one's a little trickier. It has more editing aspect. So that's why I'm only asking for one of those, because it does take more time to get everything together, and it takes time to edit it. So it's a little more complicated. Photo collage. So this one, you're using at least 8 images in the collage. So what a photo collage is where you're combining multiple photos and creating like a new layout and arranging those photos in a cool way. And again, you can do this digitally, where you combine multiple photos. There's lots of good collage apps, on smartphone apps that you can do arrangements. You can also do it in Photoshop as well, where you bring in layers. If you want to do a collage where you arrange, Polaroid prints, if you have like an instant camera or you can print out your photos, you could do an analog one where you arrange your prints and then take a photo of that and then turn that in for a photo collage. That's cool too with me. I've seen some where people have used hundreds of photos into one photo collage. All I'm asking for is a minimum of 8 photos. So that way you're shooting, multiple photos, putting them in a cool layout and arranging them. What the layout you choose is up to you. You're just making it look nice. Does that make sense? So the photo collage and the mixed media are probably the most editing intensive. The 2 still lifes of the 8 landscape series, that's more shooting stuff and arranging stuff. So students will enhance the images in Photoshop, showing a strong before and after. You could use Photopea or Photoshop Express, right? Landscapes edited as a series, all the same look. Students upload their images to a Flickr album or Google Doc or slide. Students can present their photos for the Q2 presentation on Tuesday, December 1st, when it is due. It's worth 60 points. So for this project, I'm giving 40 points for the quality of your photos and 20 points for either talking when you present to class or leaving descriptions or comments in your album or your slides, talking about how you made your photos. So you could talk about, if you made a still life, like different compositions or arrangements you tried, how you tried to focus on different areas. Maybe you use a certain software and did certain editing to it, what worked or didn't work when you were shooting your photos. Basically just talking about how you created your photos. So you have an option of getting the 20 points by talking about it for a couple minutes, in class for a presentation, or you can leave descriptions with your photos. So again, 40 points for the quality of your photos, and then 20 points for talking about them. So I put a lot of different links here that you can click on. Some are YouTube videos of photographers, talking about how to go and shoot landscapes. Come on, dude. There we go. And so you can check them out, but basically they give different tips on like how to set up your camera, what to kind of pay attention to when you're photographing, how to focus, and how to kind of set everything up, and kind of the different tools and techniques a landscape photographer uses when shooting. So it's a pretty good little video. If you're interested in still lifes, I got 2 videos that you can check out where they're using, so only using one light to get a cool studio shot. But this applies, so he's showing, how they're setting up like a glass to get a reflection, and then a little sheet behind it for a white background, and then how they're just using one light source to light their products, which are the glasses. So if you're interested in kind of learning about lighting and still lifes, this second one is ideas for still lifes. And so you can go through and see all the different types of still lifes there are. There's tons and tons and tons. You can also do a still life where you have a person in the shot and you arrange either things on the person or around the person, like I've seen overhead, or person's like laying in grass and they like arrange flowers around them. That would be a still life. So anytime you're arranging objects, it could be with a person or without. So mixed media, this is a good little tutorial video on how to edit for it, how to kind of drag in text. So this is the one I made, and you can basically, I show you how to bring in text, how to do a drop shadow, how to blend text, how to cut out a subject, and this one I brought in a painting as the sky, and how to kind of use blending modes. And so pretty good little video. A lot of these features you can do in Photopea, so everything I'm showing is pretty similar. So you can watch that one if you're interested in the mixed media and kind of see, okay, maybe that's too difficult, or maybe it should be fine. Oh, sorry, dude. Come on. So this one, they're doing a manual mixed media. So they printed out a photo, and then they're using, okay, come on, dude. There we go. He's using different, glue and stuff on the paper, and like putting down fabrics and different, clippings and stuff on top of the photo to make the finished design. And then they kind of spray painted it to get some cool colors. And then you can see the finished product. Here we go. Looks pretty cool. So if you're interested in doing kind of like analog where you print out your photo, that's a good little video. Self-portrait mixed media ideas. So these are when you take a photo of yourself. Oh, that one's not available anymore on the school account. It was last year. Photo collage tips. I got 3 videos here if you're interested in making photo collages. Some are in Photoshop. And then some different links here. Sometimes people like making ink clouds for still lifes. So this is a good little link here on how to shoot ink cloud photography. And it actually shows you how to, one sec. Talks about like the different materials you need. So this one they used an aquarium with a black background behind it. And then they used a light source. And then basically you use, some either paints or food dyes. And so this one they used, I believe it was like a thicker paint, like an acrylic paint. And then you can also blend it with cream if you have food dyes and kind of make it thicker with cream. And then you can see the little tank here and then the black background behind. And so then they're just dropping it in and capturing cool little ink clouds. It's pretty fun, but you do have to have like an aquarium or something to shoot in that you can fill up. The problem with so if you did 2 separate ones of those, that would be your 2 still lifes if you're interested in doing that. But the thing is, once you shoot one, you gotta like clear out the tank because it's gonna like all fill up with all the paint and the dye, and empty it, fill it up again, then do your second one. So it does take some time, but it is pretty cool. I do have a link here. So Alberto Silveso is a good follow. He does some pretty cool ink cloud stuff, and so I'm just gonna kind of show you, how it works. And so if I was like taking photos of this, you can kind of see how it does really cool stuff. He's using a thicker paint. He's actually using 2 types of paint. He's using like a thinner one and a thicker one. And you can see over time, it starts creating cool, interesting shapes. And then if I was taking photos, this is a video, but I could take photos of this as it's dropping in. It just has a tank, a white wall behind it, and then, some decent lighting in the room or like a window light. And you get really cool shapes and formations out of it. So something to try. It is kind of tricky, but it's kind of a cool still life option. And then Ronnie Garcia, it's _ Ronnie Garcia. He's a Chilean photographer from Chile. And he does pretty cool stuff where, again, you could use pictures of people in your still life. Like this one, they're arranging things on their face and then arranging the flowers and elements around the models. So again, you could use a still life with people, but he's a cool photographer. He also does these cool retouching videos and how he kind of plays with the colors and edits them in different ways. Pretty cool photographer, where he makes these kind of cool arrangements, but really pretty. I like what he does with his colors, very vibrant colors, and then kind of doing sort of, still lifes with people. And so I'll try to find some more here. He uses a lot of cool flowers. He's down in Chile and he has access to like, all these cool florists. And so, but you can also find a cool location with flowers and then shoot the person with the flowers if that interests you. So for student examples, these were photos from last year. So I have a couple still lifes here where they set up, this little jewelry with the little sand dial, and they had the flowers in the background. So she worked on kind of blurring out the background roses and stuff. And then this one had a meaning of kind of the idea of love and time and how things could end, and like the sand ran out. And so she did like a cool little light on it. This was the second one with her friend, and so showing, the Polaroid prints of their friendship, and then the camera, and just doing like a cool arrangement. This was a photo collage, and so this one had, again, multiple photos. It's kind of more of a fashion, showing like different angles and details of the person's outfit. So again, pretty cool arrangement for a still life using the shoes. Thought that was kind of cool. Like how she got the like toe caps, lined up. Clean wipe, just get like a lamp and do a cool arrangement. That's cool. Foods are good. I've seen, cool cosmetic things where they use different cosmetics and brushes and, all the stuff you'd use for something. And then I'll show you some more. So this person shot their sunset photos and wanted to kind of get it's not perfect, but the landscape, like the horizon line at the same kind of position. And then they shot different photos around that area. So pretty cool little landscape series with 8 photos. This one, they shot their friend at the swing in La Jolla. It kind of overlooks the cliff. It's kind of foggy behind her. But just kind of showing her in the environment. So you could do landscape photos of people in an environment, and she just kind of wanted to do different photos of her friend on the swing as a series. So again, you as I mentioned, you can shoot, just from different angles of different, moments happening within that, and then there's your 8 photos. So you don't have to spend like a ton of time. This one, they tried different photo collages. So they use the photo collage app and then just tried out different ones just for fun. I like this one was pretty cool where they did like an overlay with it with the texture. But there's lots of good little photo collage apps. If you're interested, PixArt is a good one, or Pixel. Sorry, what's it called? Photo Grid is a good one. It is specifically designed for. I'm just gonna pin myself up here, but it's called Photo Grid. It's the upper right one. That one is a good one for collaging. You can just upload multiple photos from your phone, and then you can change the layout and everything. It's kind of fun to play with. And then this one, Mia did some different InkCloud still lifes. So she used just food dyes that you could buy at a grocery store, at Michael's, at like an arts and crafts store. Set up a little tank in a white background, and then shot the food dyes, focusing on the different colors. So she did more than you needed to. But I thought it was kind of cool that she tried different ones. And you can see you got different results doing that. So it's pretty cool. So I'm just going to stop the recording. Our neighbor kid is crying. He's really sad.